He stole my $1 million idea, then begged for my help. My name is Garrett Wells, and if you'd asked me 5 years ago if I'd ever set out to destroy someone, I would have laughed in your face. I never saw myself as the vengeful type. I was the kind of guy who let things slide, believed in keeping the peace. But karma is slow, and some betrayals cut too deep to just let go. The truth is, there's nothing quite like the sting of realizing that the person you trusted most in the world, your best friend, is capable of screwing you over. The smirk like you were an idiot for not seeing it coming. I did see it coming too late. Zayn Carter and I met in college. He was the kind of guy who could walk into a room full of strangers and walk out with 3 job offers, a dinner invitation, and at least 2 phone numbers. I wasn't socially awkward or anything. I can hold a conversation just fine, but I didn't have his magnetic energy. He could sell anything. I could build anything. Back in those days, all we talked about was how we start a business. He'd bring the sales skills and I'd bring the technical brainpower. We'd throw ideas on over cheap beer in our dorm, mapping out what our future company would look like. But life got in the way. I landed a stable job as a software engineer right out of college. He kept getting involved in startups that never quite took off. He never seemed to worry about it. He always had something brewing. Always had his eye on some big break that was just around the corner. We stayed in touch. We still met up every other weekend. Still talked about those old dreams. And then, about a year ago, I had an idea. A good one. I've been working on a piece of software. It wasn't flashy, but it was practical. Businesses would eat it up. Looking back, I should have known better. A couple of months later, I was at work when I got a text from an old college friend, Matt Ruiz. Dude, congrats. Just saw the article. Zayn sold your software for 10K. What the HLL? What was he talking about? Then Matt sent a link. I clicked on it and my stomach dropped. It was a press release from a startup incubator, Next Tech Solutions, announcing their latest investment, a contract automation solution software. I stared at the article until I noticed the product demo video attached below the announcement. I clicked play and there it was. My software, I swear, the functionality. The code, he hadn't even bothered to change the design. He just renamed it and sold it for $100,000 up front, plus a percentage of future earnings. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I called Zayn immediately. I texted him. Nothing. I was in disbelief. I couldn't eat, couldn't focus at work. My mind kept replaying the night I told him about the software, the way he nodded like a friend. I finally saw him in person at a networking event. He was surrounded by people, laughing, drinking, shaking hands, without a care in the world. I didn't even try to hide my anger. What the hell? Zayn. His expression hardened. He shrugged and said, "You should have moved faster." I actually laughed. A hollow, disbelieving sound. "Oh, you'll regret this." His smirk faltered for a fraction of a second, then returned, like I was just some idiot who didn't know how the world works. And that's when something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to let this go. We spent the next few weeks watching each other. The company had no idea what they were in for. It's not just about having the code. It's about knowing how to fix it. The software wasn't finished, and he didn't have the full documentation. He didn't understand the back end. Crash and burn, baby. Nextech started hyping up their newest innovation to their best clients, secured pre-orders, and Zayn was in over his head. Then my phone rang at some ungodly hour. "Zayn," I let it ring. Then just as it was about to go to voicemail, I picked up. His voice was different this time. Strained, desperate. "Garrett, hey buddy, this is urgent. I need your help." I didn't say anything. Just let him sit in the silence. I was smiling. I wasn't going to make it easy for him. I let the silence linger just long enough to make him sweat. Zayn was never good with silence. He thrived in fast-moving conversations where he could control the tempo, where he could keep people entertained, distracted enough to forget the important details. He was stuck waiting for my help with my software. I could hear him swallow on the other end. Some of the back end is, "This is critical. Just keep talking." I wanted to enjoy every single moment of Zayn's ascent into what he thought was the ultimate success. "Yes, but we can work this out. You're the only one who really knows how it works and if we can fix it." I leaned back in my chair, staring at my computer, the one he never got his hands on, pretending to consider. "Let me get this straight. You stole my idea, sold it, laughed at me for not moving fast enough, and now you need me to clean up your mess." Zayn exhaled sharply. "Garrett, come on. This is business. You know how things work. If you had sold it first, would you really have cut me in?" That stung. Not because he was right, but because it proved he had never thought of me as a real partner. I wouldn't have stolen from him. He didn't answer. The silence stretched on between us, thick and heavy. I could feel the weight of it. Finally, his voice dropped, lower and more pleading. "Look, man, I know I messed up, but you can help me fix it. Help me fix it." I closed my eyes and pinched the bridge of my nose. The arrogance of it all. But I wasn't done with him yet. I let a few seconds pass, actually pretending to consider. "All right, but if I do this, we do it my way, of course. Whatever you need, just tell me. I need full access to everything Nextech has on the software, the code, the bug reports, everything. Zayn hesitated. That might be tough. They already have security protocols. I had to smile with delight knowing he was about to crack at my game. Then there's nothing I can do. I could hear him grinding his teeth. If he said yes, he'd be putting his fate in my hands. Fine, I'll get it to you. Good. And one more thing. You told them I'm the one who designed the software, not you. I wanted him to squirm because once Nextech found out the truth, Zayn was dead in the water. I enjoyed the sound of him swallowing hard with a sharp breath. He had no other options. And just like that, I was in. The next morning, I got an email from Zayn with a forwarded message from Nextech. It was the full project repository, the documentation, the code, the bug reports that looked worse than I had imagined. Zayn was desperate. I played along for the next 2 weeks. I fed them just enough information to keep them from pulling the plug. I showed up to virtual meetings as Zayn had tried to keep control of the narrative. The more Nextech executives started directing their questions to me instead of him, and the more I answered, the more they realized something was off. One day, during a particularly tense video call, the head of Nextech development turned to Zayn and said, "Hey, so what exactly was your role in all this?" Zayn stammered. "To manage the product vision, I made sure the concept aligned with the market needs." "So you didn't actually build any of this?" I stayed quiet. I didn't need to say anything. I just watched as realization started setting in. It was too late. I had planted the seed of doubt, and soon it would grow into something that would destroy him. Zayn's silence stretched on longer than was comfortable. His usual smooth confidence was gone. Nextech's developers had been asking the right questions, ones that he couldn't answer without exposing himself. "Well, I mean, product vision is just as important as development," he said with no conviction, straining to gauge their reaction. "Without my vision, this product would not be what it is." It was a weak defense. The lead developer barely reacted. Instead, he turned his attention back to me. "We just want to make sure we understand the foundation." That was it. That was the moment Zayn lost control. I could hear it in the slight hitch in his voice, the ever so slight narrowing of his eyes on the video call. My expression remained neutral. I answered their technical questions to their satisfaction, and then I decided to bring it all out into the light. "So, can you tell us more about tailoring it to their needs?" I spoke clearly and firmly. The real challenge was making sure the automation flow could be deployed without conflicts. Bryce, the lead developer, caught on and added, "Yeah, this was your project from the start, right? I remember you describing the concept from about a year ago." The silence that followed was deafening. You could see the shift in expression on the Nextech executives. Frowns all round with eyes that cut through to Zayn's deceit. They had been sold a bill of goods, and now the reality set in. I didn't hear from Zayn for the next few days, but I knew what was happening behind the scenes. I could picture the emergency meetings, the quiet discussions as they realized they had paid $100,000 to the wrong person. Then the phone rang. Zayn. I let it ring twice before picking up. His voice was low. "We need to talk." I smirked. "That's funny. Last time I wanted to talk, you ignored my calls." He exhaled sharply. "Cut the crap. Garrett, I know what you're doing." "Oh, what am I doing?" "You're trying to turn Nextech against me." "Don't lie to me. You rat." "I did not have to try. You did that all by yourself." I could feel his fury building. Silence on the other end. When he finally spoke again, his voice was cleared. "I can't give them what they want. Sounds like a you problem." "Damn it, Garrett." His composure cracked. "You think you're winning. You think they're just going to throw me aside and hand everything over to you. It doesn't work like that. I made this deal happen. I got them to buy it. That's worth something." I rolled my eyes. "Yeah, and what happens when they realize the guy who sold them the vision has no idea how to actually build the product?" Zayn didn't answer right away. A week later, I got a call to walk into their downtown Austin office, all glass walls and polished concrete. I met with 3 executives. Bryce, the lead developer, and 2 of Nextech's co-founders, Eric Vaughn and Naomi Patel. Naomi spoke first. Eric leaned forward. "We've been reviewing the documentation and the code, and your recent contributions. It's clear that the majority of this project came from you." I stayed quiet, letting them talk. Bryce cut to the situation. "The product we invested in isn't functional, and we don't have time for a full rebuild." Naomi folded her hands. "So here's what we're proposing." I stared at them, trying to gauge what was coming. Eric cleared his throat. "For ownership of the project, full control. You finish the software, you get the credit, and you get paid accordingly." A brief pause. "What about Zayn?" Naomi shrugged. "Zayn is no longer evolved." The words sent a slow, cold satisfaction down my spine. They were cutting him out the same way he had cut me out. I reached for the contract, flipping through the pages. But before I could speak, Naomi raised a hand. "One more thing." I glanced up. "What is it?" Her expression was unreadable. "You can take over the project, but we need to know something first." Naomi leaned in slightly. "Did you set Zayn up?" The room went quiet. Bryce exhaled slowly. Eric folded his arms. I put the corners of my mouth up a bit with a tiny smirk. "Do you really care?" Naomi and Eric exchanged a look. Then Naomi smiled. "Just a little." "No, we don't." I walked out of that meeting with everything Zayn thought he had stolen from me. Full ownership, full control. and a new deal worth HOL of a lot more than $100,000. But I wasn't done yet, because while I was inside Nextech finalizing the details of my takeover, Zayn was outside, waiting. I spotted him near the parking lot, leaning against his car, arms crossed. His expression was unreadable, but I could see the tension in his jaw, the way his fingers twitched like he was resisting the urge to punch something. I didn't slow down, but just as I walked past him, he spoke. "You think this is over?" I stopped, slowly turned to face him. His eyes were sharp, burning with something between hatred and desperation. "You think you've won?" I didn't answer because we both knew the truth. I hadn't just won, I had completely destroyed him. He wasn't done fighting, and that was fine because neither was I. I didn't say anything. I just stared at him, letting him feel the weight of his own failure. The new CEO had nothing left now. I knew Zayn well enough to understand that he wasn't just going to walk away quietly. I continued on my walk feeling better than ever. "You think they'll keep you around forever?" He scoffed, straightening up. "They'll use you like they used me. The moment they don't need you anymore, they'll toss you aside." I tilted my head, kind of like how you did to me. His jaw clenched. "If it wasn't for me, Nextech wouldn't have even looked at your software." I let out a short laugh. "You really believe that, don't you?" I took a step closer, lowering my voice. "You didn't get them to believe in the product, Zayn. You got them to believe in you. And look how that turned out." His face twitched. For the first time, I saw something crack in his expression. Something raw and vulnerable, like he was realizing the full extent of his defeat. "You got your little victory. Enjoy it while it lasts." I let his words hang in the air for a moment. "I will." With that, I walked away. Zayn didn't go quietly. For the next few weeks, I heard bits and pieces of what happened, mostly through mutual friends or the grapevine, which meant that the rest of his business contacts, Nextech executives, and anyone who had seen him as an up-and-comer started distancing themselves. At first, he tried to put on a brave face. He posted online about how he was moving on to new ventures and exciting opportunities. But the truth was, he had burned too many bridges. He couldn't even take credit for my software. Nextech released an official statement clarifying that I was the original creator and developer, and that my name was on the patent and all the legal paperwork. Depressed was an understatement. It wasn't long before I got a text from a mutual friend. "Zayn's looking for work." He applied to a mid-level sales job at some insurance company. I read the message twice, letting it sink in. A year ago, Zayn had been on top of the world. He thought he was untouchable, that he could steal from me and get away with it. Now he was begging for a job that barely covered his expenses. His name was already tainted. The story spread throughout the industry. The way he tried to pass off someone else's work as his own. The way he built his reputation on charm and connections instead of substance. One night, a few months after Nextech had fully launched my software, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hope you're happy." I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed out a response. "Thanks for asking." I hit send and didn't think about him again. There was nothing left to say. He did this to himself, and now he had to live with it. So, Reddit, I'm turning to you now. Was I justified in what I did? Did I handle this situation correctly? Or should I have taken a different path? Share your thoughts. I'm genuinely curious to hear your opinions about the entire situation and how it played out in the end. Give me your honest assessment of my actions, because I need to know if I took this too far or if I did what needed to be done given the circumstances and the betrayal I suffered at the hands of someone I trusted deeply. I also need your feedback so that if a similar situation ever occurs again, I would be in a better position to act properly.